On September 28, 2025, New York City politics was rocked by an announcement that no one saw coming, sending shockwaves through the city's political landscape and beyond. Mayor Eric Adams, once a dominant force in city politics, abruptly ended his re-election campaign, leaving supporters and critics alike in disbelief. The decision came after months of mounting speculation, but few expected such a sudden and definitive move. Rather than holding a traditional press conference, Adams chose to break the news in a somber video posted to his social media accounts. The message, released just 5 weeks before Election Day, was brief but emotional, signaling the end of a campaign that had once seemed unstoppable. The city's reaction was immediate and intense. Crowds gathered in public spaces, glued to their phones and televisions as the news spread. Reporters rushed to City Hall, and social media erupted with speculation about what would happen next. Adams, who had built his reputation on resilience and determination, admitted that the path to a second term was no longer viable. His tone was reflective, acknowledging the challenges he faced and the toll the campaign had taken on him personally and politically. For months, Adams's campaign had been dogged by controversy, from ethics investigations to public criticism over his handling of city issues. Poll numbers had steadily declined, and campaign volunteers grew increasingly anxious as negative headlines piled up. The pressure, both from within his team and from the public, became insurmountable. Many New Yorkers, just beginning to focus on the final stretch of the campaign, were left stunned and uncertain. The incumbent's sudden exit upended months of political calculations and left voters wondering who would step up to fill the void. Overnight, the field of contenders was forced to recalibrate. Campaigns scrambled to adjust their strategies, and new alliances began to form as the race for mayor became more unpredictable than ever before. The city's political future was suddenly wide open, with no clear frontrunner. Adams's departure marked a rare and dramatic moment in New York City history. It raised urgent questions about leadership, accountability, and the direction of the city. As the dust settled, one thing was clear: the 2025 mayoral race would be unlike any the city had ever seen. In his video, Adams blamed two main factors for his withdrawal: the Campaign Finance Board's denial of millions in public matching funds and relentless negative media coverage. Without those funds, he argued, his campaign couldn't compete, and the constant scandals made it impossible to get his message out. Adams claimed the race was no longer fair, with his campaign starved of resources and buried under criticism. Yet many saw these as symptoms of deeper issues: ongoing federal investigations and ethical questions that had dogged his administration. Ultimately, the pressures Adams cited were the direct result of controversies that had come to define his mayoralty. Eric Adams's rise was nothing short of remarkable, a story that began in the streets of Brooklyn, where he grew up facing adversity and discrimination. As a young man, Adams joined the NYPD, determined to reform the system from within after experiencing police brutality firsthand. His years in uniform shaped his public persona as a tough, no-nonsense leader who understood the struggles of everyday New Yorkers. Rising through the ranks, Adams became a state senator and then Brooklyn Borough president, building a broad coalition of working-class and minority voters who saw him as a champion for their interests. He was known for his ability to connect with people from all walks of life, and his campaign events often drew crowds that reflected the city's diversity. In 2021, Adams achieved his dream, winning the mayoral election and stepping into City Hall with high expectations. His tough-on-crime stance and hands-on leadership style initially won him praise, especially as New Yorkers looked for stability after years of uncertainty. But the challenges of governing a city as complex as New York soon became apparent. Scandals began to surface, and Adams struggled to deliver on key promises like affordable housing and public safety. As headlines turned negative, public trust started to erode. His frequent clashes with progressive city council members and the Biden administration over immigration policy only deepened his isolation. Protests erupted outside City Hall, and Adams found himself increasingly at odds with activists who had once supported him. The situation worsened when federal investigations into his campaign fundraising and the conduct of his aides dominated the news cycle. The image of Adams as a reformer faded, replaced by that of an embattled politician fighting for survival amid mounting legal troubles. As the months passed, Adams's approval ratings plummeted. The very voters who had once seen him as a problem solver began to question his leadership and his ability to deliver real change. Public confidence in his administration reached new lows. Ultimately, the pressure became too great. By the time Adams announced the suspension of his campaign, his fall from grace was complete. The city that had once embraced him now looked to the future, searching for new leadership. With Adams out of the race, the stage was set for a dramatically different mayoral contest, one that would reshape the political landscape of New York City for years to come. Adams's political downfall accelerated in September 2024 when he was indicted on federal bribery and fraud charges. Prosecutors alleged he accepted over $100,000 in illegal contributions from Turkish citizens in exchange for political favors. Adams denied all charges, but the indictment paralyzed City Hall and fueled a narrative of corruption. In April 2025, the Trump administration ordered the charges dropped, a move widely seen as political interference to keep Adams in the race as a spoiler. The dismissal did little to restore public trust. Most believed Adams escaped accountability due to politics, not innocence. The scandal led the Campaign Finance Board to deny him public funds, citing ongoing ethical concerns. Even with the charges gone, the damage was irreversible. The controversy proved fatal to his re-election hopes. Facing a tough primary and plummeting support, Adams left the Democratic Party to run as an independent. He hoped to appeal to moderates and centrists wary of progressive nominee Zohran Mamdani. The move reflected his growing rift with Democrats, especially over immigration and public safety. But Adams's independent bid failed to gain traction as scandals and low approval ratings persisted. The entry of Andrew Cuomo as another centrist independent split the moderate vote further. Instead of creating a new path to victory, Adams found himself politically isolated. His gamble left him without a strong base or clear coalition. With Eric Adams unexpectedly dropping out, the New York City mayoral race has been dramatically reshaped. Now, the spotlight falls on three very different contenders, each representing a distinct vision for the city's future, and each hoping to capture the support of a city in flux. Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic nominee, is a progressive assemblyman from Queens. He's built his campaign around bold promises, tackling the city's affordable housing crisis, overhauling public transit, and pushing for deep police reform. Mamdani's grassroots approach has energized young voters and activists, and his rallies often draw passionate crowds demanding change. He's seen as the candidate most likely to shake up the status quo, but his left-leaning platform has also sparked debate among more moderate Democrats. Andrew Cuomo, the former governor, is running as an independent. He's positioning himself as the experienced hand in a turbulent race, promising stability and pragmatic solutions. Cuomo appeals to moderate voters who are wary of Mamdani's progressive agenda, emphasizing his record of navigating crises and getting things done. His campaign events focus on restoring trust in city government and addressing public safety, while also reaching out to disaffected Democrats and independents who feel left behind by the party's recent shifts. Curtis Sliwa, the Republican nominee and founder of the Guardian Angels, is running a campaign centered on law and order. He's become a familiar face at rallies across the city, promising to crack down on crime and restore a sense of safety to New York's streets. Sliwa's message resonates with conservatives and with residents frustrated by what they see as growing disorder. He's also courting working-class neighborhoods that feel overlooked by both major parties. Despite pressure from Donald Trump to step aside and unite the anti-Mamdani vote, Sliwa has refused to drop out. His decision keeps the conservative vote split, adding another layer of unpredictability to an already volatile race. Sliwa insists he's the only candidate who truly understands the city's challenges and refuses to be sidelined by national party politics. The race now pits a progressive visionary, a seasoned centrist, and a populist conservative against each other. Each contender brings a unique background and set of priorities, offering voters starkly different choices for the city's direction. In deep blue New York, Mamdani is widely considered the front-runner, but Cuomo's independent run threatens to split the Democratic base, making the outcome far less certain. Polls show shifting allegiances as voters weigh their options, and the city's diverse communities are being courted like never before. As the final weeks of the campaign unfold, all eyes are on the former Adams supporters, now the most sought-after voting bloc. Their decision could tip the balance and ultimately decide who will lead New York City into its next chapter. In his exit, Adams issued a pointed warning to voters about insidious forces and divisive agendas threatening the city's progress. Without naming names, he clearly targeted Mamdani's progressive platform, framing it as a dangerous break from stability. Adams's message echoed centrist fears, urging voters to defend the city's existing systems. Though he didn't endorse anyone, his final words were a rallying cry for moderates to resist radical change. Adams's withdrawal sparked immediate reactions. Cuomo praised Adams and positioned himself as the moderate alternative to Mamdani's progressivism. Mamdani's camp celebrated the exit as a win for grassroots politics, framing Cuomo and Adams as establishment figures tied to Trump. Trump's earlier intervention in Adams's legal troubles was seen as an attempt to divide the anti-Mamdani vote. The Democratic establishment began to coalesce around Mamdani, though some leaders stayed silent. The city's deep divisions were on full display, sharpening the stakes for the final weeks. With Adams's campaign over, his political career is ending. He'll finish his term as a lame duck mayor. The November ballot, already set, will still feature his name, a reminder of what might have been. The race is now a high-stakes contest between Mamdani, Cuomo, and Sliwa, each offering a starkly different vision. Mamdani is favored, but Cuomo's independent run and Sliwa's persistence keep the outcome uncertain. The election is a referendum on New York's identity-bold progressive change or centrist stability. Adams's rise and fall highlight the city's struggles with crime, affordability, and trust in government. His exit has intensified the debate, leaving the next mayor to inherit a city at a crossroads. The choice New Yorkers make will shape the city's future for years to come.